Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 15 is entitled as Puruṣottamaḥ Vidya, Puruṣottamaḥ Yogam. Sloka 19, Part 14. Yo māmevam asammudaha janāti puruṣottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena Bharata. In the previous session, we learnt about the three causes which are essential for any creation: upadhana karana, nimitta karana, sahakari karana. Now, what we need to learn is what are those material causes and the supportive causes that the Lord uses to create this universe. What we have learned from chapter 14 is that the Lord who makes the pradhana, the mula prakriti, into mahan, and mahan into ahankara, then ahankara into sattvika ahankara, rajas ahankara, and tamas ahankara. Then from there he creates pancha jnanendriya, pancha karmendriya, manas, pancha tanmatra, and pancha bhuta. Then with these pancha bhuta, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, he does an organized mixing of these five elements known as panchikarana. And with that mix, the universes are created. Then the Lord selects and elects that one Atma, Jivatma, who has done a lot of pious deeds, punya karma, to be the secondary creator under the supervision of him. That elected Jivatma is none other than Brahma, the Chaturmukha Brahma. And also we know all that is being created are of mix of Sattvaguna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna, because they are all byproduct of the Mula Prakriti. Therefore, we may come to a conclusion that the cause, the material cause for the universe is the Mula Prakriti, which has transformed itself into Mahan, Mahan to Ahankara, Ahankara into all the different elements. In other words, for the Panchabhuta, Ahankara is Upadana Karana, and Panchabhutas are Karya, and for Ahankara, Mahan is Upadhana Karana, and Ahankara is Karya, and for Mahan, Mula Prakriti is Upadhana Karana, and Mahan is the Karya. Therefore, for the creation of the universe, the material cause is Prakriti, the Mula Prakriti. The Lord creates this universe, the Lord who is a Nimitta Karana, creates this universe using the Mula Prakriti as Upadhana Karana, material cause. And also we have learned that it is the Achetana which can be a Upadhana Karana, which changes from one form to another form. Therefore, we come to a conclusion that Prakriti is Upadhana Karana, which is being used by the Nimitta Karana, the Supreme Lord, to create the end product, which is this universe. Moreover, in the Vedas also it is said that Mula Prakriti, which transforms into Mahan, and then to Ahankara, and then to Panchabhuta, the five elements, which ultimately makes up this universe. Asman Mayi Srijate Vishwam Etat Tasmin Chanyo Mayaya Sanniruddhaha, as stated in the Svetesvatara Upanishad, that the Lord creates this world from the Prakriti. One of the name of the Lord is also known as Mayavi. Prakriti has another name, which is Maya. The one who creates the universe with Maya is Mayavi. From all this, what we have seen so far, we may come to a conclusion that the Prakriti is the Upadhana Karana for this universe, whereas the Lord is just the Nimitta Karana. But that understanding is not correct, because Vedavyasa do not agree to this theory that Prakriti is Upadhana Karana and Nimitta Karana is the Lord. He says in Brahma Sutra, Janmadyasya yataha, Janmadi, Janma and Adi, others, which means the creation, maintenance and destruction, are from Brahman. It is from him everything gets created, everything is maintained, and everything ultimately goes back to him. This fully establishes that Lord is the Nimitta Karana in the Brahma Sutra. Most of the school of thoughts who believes in Vedas agrees that yes, it is the Lord who is Nimitta Karana, but he is not Upadhana Karana. The Lord is instrumental cause, but he is not material cause. But this is completely denied by Vedavyasa in Brahma Sutra. In Prakrityadhikarana, in 1.4.23, he says, Prakritischa pratiknya drishtanurodhat. This sutra says that the Lord himself, who is the Nimitta Karana, is also the Upadhana Karana for that Prakriti itself. Prakritischa. It is not just Prakriti, cha is added, Prakritischa, which indicates that he is also the material cause. Here, Prakriti is just not the Mula Prakriti with the three gunas. What it means by Prakriti is that he is the Upadhana Karana even for the Prakriti which has three gunas. The reason that Vedavyasa is mentioning this clearly as one of the sutra is because there are schools of thought which accept the Lord as Nimitta Karana but do not agree that Lord is Upadhana Karana. They say the Upadhana Karana is the Prakriti itself, which is different from the Lord, from the Nimitta Karana. It is impossible to say that the Nimitta Karana and the Upadhana Karana to be one and the same, as they are different. So the Nimitta Karana is the Lord and the Upadhana Karana is something else, someone else, as per their school of thought. That is what being addressed in this sutra by Vedavyasa. Prakritischa pratiknya drishtanta anuruddhat. Brahman is the material cause of the universe. Why? Because only then there will be a harmony between the propositions and the examples. Only then there will be no contradiction with the pratignya and drishtanta. Pratignya means vow, drishtanta means example. We are sure nothing would have made any sense from what has been said now. What is that vow and what is that example which confirms that the Lord is Upadhana Karana? For this we have to refer to Sadvidya, which is explained in Chandogya Upanishad. There is a conversation between a father and son. Father is Uddalaka and the son is Svetaketu. Let's hear a short story how this conversation builds up. Svetaketu, who was the son of Uddalaka, was sent to Gurukula to learn the scriptures. After studying the scriptures for several years under a guru, he returned back home. His father could see that his son has not got the essence of education. He was full of pride that he has learned everything and is greater than everyone. So the father could understand just by his son's body language. He was standing like a tall tree in front of his father, no sign of humility. After studying so much, it is said, Vidya dadati vinayam vinayadhyati patratam patratva dhanam apnoti dhanad dharmam tatat sukham. That the true education, knowledge, makes one humble. Like the tree full of fruits doesn't stand straight, it bends towards the ground. Only when a person becomes humble to be qualified to obtain happiness, sukham. The father Uttalaka could understand his son has really not understood the essence of education. So the father asked a question to his son Svetaketu. Utatam adesham aprakshir yena shrutam shrutam bhavati amatam matam avijñātam vijñātam. Gentle Svetaketu, you are very proud, praised, thinking yourself a scholar. Svetaketu yennu saumyedam mahamana anucchānamani tabdo. You stand like a tree. And then he asked a question, have you learned about the ruler by which the unheard becomes heard, the inconceivable becomes conceived, and the unknown becomes known? That is, by knowing that one object, you have known everything. By hearing of that one object, you have heard everything. By conceiving that one object, you have conceived everything. Have you learned about that one object? Eka vijñānam yena sarva vijñānam. From knowing that one, everything else is known. The son got completely lost with the question. How can there be such an object? By knowing it, one can know everything. Say, by knowing pot, how can we know ring? How can we know fabric? By knowing pot, how can one say they know the ring? By knowing the ring, how can they say they know the pot? That doesn't seem to be a valid question. That doesn't seem to be a possible scenario case. Every single object needs to be known by itself, separate from others. There's no way that we know one object and we can claim to say that we know all other objects. So he asked his father back saying, I don't know. Would you please give answer to your question? Explain that to me. Then the father smilingly responded saying, Yata saumyekena mritpindena sarvam mrinmayam vijñātam syāt vācārambanam vikāro namadheyam mrittiketi eva satyam. Say, you were at the house of a potter in the morning. There you see mritpindam, that a large amount of clay. And then later in the afternoon, you visit that potter's house again. Now over there, you don't see the mud, the clay, but all you see is 10 different pots. So the question to you is, have you seen this pot before when you went for the first time? If you say you have not seen, then that's not the right answer. Because it is the same pot, what you are seeing now, in this pot form, was present in the morning in a different form. In the morning, it was in the form of ball of clay. Now that ball of clay has taken the form of a pot. So, in the morning, it is the same clay in the shape of ball, and in the afternoon, it is the same clay which is in the shape of pot. Only the shape differs, but the matter is same. So what you saw in the morning, the clay, is same now in the afternoon as well. but in a different form. A ball of mud is the upadhana karana for the pot, for the plate, and etc. The mud loses its ball form and takes the form of a pot, takes the form of a plate. Therefore, the pot and the plate are not objects distinct from the ball of mud. They are one and the same, just in a different form. Therefore, once you have cognized the ball of mud, you have actually cognized all things that comes from the ball of mud, that get created from the ball of mud. So what the father is trying to establish here, teach his son, is just by knowing that one object, you will know its byproduct, the other objects. Meaning, by knowing that upadhana karana, you will know everything else. Another question comes out of what we just saw. Well, it makes sense that by understanding the upadhana karana, in this example it is a ball of mud, I can understand, cognize the clay pot, clay plate, clay toys, etc. But that doesn't mean I understand the products of fire, which is different from earth. Doesn't mean that I understand the products of water, which is different from fire and earth. That means I need to understand 5 upadhana karanas, which are earth, water, fire, air and ether, to understand everything of this world. But the father says, not necessary. Even for those 5 elements, there is one upadhana karana. Then we may think that must be the prakriti, the pradhana, from which all this 5 comes. Therefore, prakriti is upadhana karana. But that's not the answer, because Vedas says the upadhana karana even for the prakriti is the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, if you know Krishna, then it means that you have cognized everything in this universe. This is what is being taught by Uddalaka, the father, to his son Svetaketu, that the Lord is upadhana karana for this universe. By knowing him, just by knowing him, one knows everything. And this is exactly what Krishna says in this sloka. Yo mameyam asamudho janati puruṣottamam sarvavit bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. Whoever knows me knows everything, because I am the upadhana karana, not just nimitta karana. As everything comes from him, everything is maintained by him, and everything goes back to him. We may still have some doubt in what we just discussed, because the ball of mud and the pot are 2 different entities, and how can they be the same? The answer is already given by the father to the son. Well, the names differ, their function differ. That is, from mud one creates pot to carry water. From mud one creates plate to eat. From mud one creates bricks to build house. From mud one creates toys for the children to play. So it is the same ball of mud. When it takes different forms, it gets different names. Then the question is, why even there should be different names? Why can't we call it with one name? Well, for us to use that created object appropriately, say when the mud takes the form of pot, we call it as a pot because then we can use it to carry water, not for building homes. When the mud takes the form of brick, we use that brick to build homes, not to carry water. For that reason, the mud which takes different forms has different names. but otherwise they are mud. That is the truth. When you see the pot, don't you cognize that this is from a ball of mud? When you see a brick, don't you cognize that this is also mud? Will you think it is not a mud? By seeing a gold ring, don't you cognize it is a gold? So, by knowing the gold coin, one cognizes the golden ring, golden bangle, golden earring, etc. I might have not seen these latest forms, the golden ring, golden bangle, golden earring, but I know what it is made of. So by knowing the upadhana karana, I can cognize its byproducts. Therefore, do not wrongly get to a conclusion that upadhana karana is different and the things that comes from the upadhana karana is different. They are same, but they have different names and different functions. But the main ingredient, the substance, that which is made of, doesn't change. It's only the form changes, name changes, and function changes. Therefore, by knowing the upadhana karana, one knows everything. That is what been told by the Father to the Son. Therefore, by knowing the Lord, one knows everything. One can cognize everything because He is the upadhana karana. This is what been established in Brahma Sutra by Veda Vyasa as the pratignya made in Chandogya Upanishad by Uttalakar to son Svetaketu. And further, the Father says that there is only one Brahman that exists before the creation, that is during the pralaya. We will understand what it means in our next session. What we learned today is the Lord is both nimitta karana and upadhana karana. Namaste. Hare Krishna.